So I have a theory that in Final Destination Bloodlines, Death is obsessed with circles. I'm not sure why, but the evidence is undeniable. Something that's circular or round or spins in a circle is involved in every single death. One or two might be debatable, but hear me out. The movie starts out in 1968 with Iris and her boyfriend Paul arriving at the Skyview for its opening night. The Skyview is a huge circular restaurant with a dance floor, set on top of a very tall spire, and is our first circle. Before they go up in the elevator, Iris sees a boy taking change out of a fountain. He's told not to do that by a security guard because it's bad luck and he should have listened. Iris and Paul make their way up to the roof where Paul proposes to Iris and Iris tells Paul that she's pregnant. They're about to head back inside when the boy that took the coins out of the fountain throws a penny over the railing, and that's circle number 2. Going forward, instead of calling out every single one, when they come up and I show them on screen, I'll keep count in the bottom corner. The penny gets sucked into a ventilation duct and bounces into a fan, getting stuck. The tension breaks off the fan blade, sending it flying into a gas pipe, causing the pipe to leak flammable gas into the ventilation system. Iris and Paul come back down from the roof and head straight to the dance floor, ready to celebrate the happiest day of their lives. Unfortunately for them and everyone else, Death has other plans. Beneath their feet, the bolts on the support beams fail, and above their heads, a piece of the chandelier breaks off, falling and damaging the dance floor. The people dancing don't realize that the floor is damaged, and it breaks. Multiple people that fell through the floor hit the already compromised support beams, causing them to fall away. Understandably, panic ensues. A chef with a flaming pan gets bumped into a woman, igniting her, which then ignites the gas that's been leaking into the restaurant because of the penny, causing an explosion. The explosion launches the penny back out into the restaurant to continue its mission as Death's instrument. The survivors run to the spiral emergency stairs to escape, only to have a huge chunk of the concrete wall and stairs fall away. The ones that didn't fall then run to the elevator and a bunch of people pile in, but Iris gets pushed aside. The elevator is already over capacity, but one more guy tries to get on. The wheel that holds up the elevator and its cables, which I learned is called a sieve, breaks, and things don't go well for that guy or the people on the elevator. Exactly what you think is going to happen happens. The remaining people run to the far side of the restaurant to escape the fire, but this is the side that lost its support beams and it begins to collapse. All of the people left except Iris and JB fall against the glass windows, while nearby a piano teeters menacingly on a ledge. As a result of the explosion, that pesky penny landed on a different chandelier from the one from earlier. It falls off onto the piano, tipping it over the edge, causing it to slide across the floor, smashing through the windows everyone was leaning on. In a nice ironic twist, the boy that threw the penny in the first place, after being told not to because it could kill someone, is then killed because he threw the penny by the falling piano. Iris finds and grabs JB to try and find a way out, but by this point the entire Skyview is collapsing. While holding JB, Iris tries to jump onto the remaining concrete pillar, but doesn't quite make it. Her engagement ring from Paul gets caught, and in my theory, this ring, this circle, tried to defy death to save 3 lives. But death will not be defied. Or gravity. The ring gets ripped from her finger, leaving Iris and JB to fall to their deaths. But this is of course all just a premonition, and Iris is able to save everybody. Jumping ahead, Iris now lives a secluded life in a cabin where she believes she is safe from death. Her granddaughter Stephanie has been having a recurring nightmare that mirrors her grandma's premonition. With Stephanie not able to sleep because of the nightmares, her grades have been dropping, putting her in danger of failing the semester at college. She has no other choice but to seek out her grandma to try and get some answers. Stephanie gets the address for Iris's cabin from her aunt and goes to talk to her. While there, Iris tries to explain that the premonition was real and that there are ways to cheat death. She made a book where she tracked all of the people that would have died in the disaster and all the ways that death may try to get you. Iris has cancer and knows that death is coming for her, so she insists that Stephanie take the book so their family might have a chance. Iris tells her that she has to live at the cabin to stay safe, which, with everything else, freaks Stephanie out and she runs outside to leave. Iris hasn't left her cabin in over 20 years, but in an effort to try and save her family, she takes the risk to force Stephanie to take the book and to prove to her that death is coming. Right after giving Stephanie the book, a weather vane on the roof breaks off and falls onto a fire extinguisher on the porch, sending the weather vane pole through Iris's head. Rip Iris. Now we're on to the cookout scene. Wait, didn't their mom just die a horrific death? Anyway, I expected more than one person to die here, but it was still fun in the Final Destination way. The first step in Death's Rube Goldberg-style death trap is when a glass cup is dropped and shattered. A shard of it ends up in the ice, the shard goes into Marty's cup, and Marty eventually sets the cup down on the arm of a chair. A beer bottle is knocked off a ledge, hitting the button on a control panel, turning the hose on, causing it to expand and move. Julia is carefully removing a block from the Jenga tower when Bobby falls through the trampoline. This startles Julia and the tower falls over, knocking Marty's cup with the glass shard in it into the yard. Stephanie arrives, and as Howard is walking over to greet her, he steps on the piece of glass and falls down. That's when the hose bumps the rake handle, knocking the rake over, which hits a lawnmower, turning it on. With Howard down in the yard, the lawnmower goes straight at him, giving him an impromptu facelift. Rip Howard. The next scene shows Eric closing up the tattoo shop where he works. It seems like death is after him, and that would have counted his septum ring, but he doesn't actually die in the tattoo shop, so we can skip it. The next day, Stephanie is still trying to convince everyone of the danger, but no one believes her. Julia leaves to go jogging, and right after Eric says,
"Death's not coming for our family."
Julia gets hit in the head by a soccer ball, leading to her deadly situation with the trash truck. The remaining members of the family decide to try and find someone with the initials JB because Iris wrote down and circled, JB found someone who survived, in her book. Darlene remembers Iris mentioning a friend that went by JB that works at a local hospital, so they go to talk to him. While at the hospital, they meet JB, and it's Tony Todd returning as the coroner, William John Bloodworth. He informs the family that there are only two ways to cheat death: killing someone to get their remaining time, or dying and being resuscitated. Eric and Bobby leave and briefly consider offing a baby to get its remaining time. Deciding that's probably a bad idea, Eric convinces Bobby to try the resuscitation method of cheating death by eating something with peanuts in it because he's allergic. They find a vending machine, and Eric is initially going to buy regular peanuts, but Bobby chooses peanut butter cups as his potential last meal. They get stuck, and Eric takes out some of his frustration on the vending machine, cracking the glass. They tip the machine forward to get the candy to drop, but they set it back down too hard and one of the springs breaks loose. Bobby takes a bite of one of the peanut butter cups and begins having an allergic reaction. Death knows what they're up to and has already set his own plan in motion. An MRI machine in the room has been charging up and is building to a dangerous level. Eric won't give Bobby his EpiPen and insists he sit in the wheelchair he got for him. The allergic reaction sends Bobby to the floor. The already overcharged MRI machine pulls Eric's phone out of his hand, and it hits a button allowing the machine to kick up another notch, which then rips out Eric's piercings one by one. Moments later, the wheelchair that Eric had found for Bobby is pulled straight toward the MRI machine, pinning Eric. The force of the machine is too strong, and Eric is pulled in with the rods of the wheelchair pushing into and through him. Bobby, still suffering from the allergic reaction, has to crawl over to Eric's body to retrieve his EpiPen. He successfully gives himself the shot, and as he's recovering, he stands up. A nurse walks in, and that's when the loose spring from the vending machine comes free, breaking the glass. It flies right at Bobby in the MRI machine, hitting him in the head and killing him instantly. At this point, it's down to Darlene, Stephanie, and Charlie. They decide the best thing to do is to go to Iris's cabin because they believe they will be safe there. They can't get in, so they decide to ram the gate, and when Stephanie slams on the brakes, a flashlight falls out of a compartment, hitting and jamming her seatbelt. She tells her mom and Charlie to leave her and run to the safety of the cabin, like the cabin is home base and death is it. But surprise, surprise, the cabin isn't safe at all. Inside, the rope holding up a hanging pot snaps, dropping the pot on the gas line for the oven, breaking it, causing gas to leak. An electrical box on the roof sparks, catching debris in the gutter on fire. An ember gets picked up by the wind and carried into the cabin just as Darlene opens the door. Darlene shuts the door, but it's too late, and the cabin explodes, sending her and Charlie into the yard. The RV gets knocked into a pond with Stephanie still trapped inside. Darlene is in rough shape, but she uses the last of her strength to save Charlie. Right after moving the debris off of Charlie, one of the light poles falls over, crushing Darlene. Charlie jumps into the RV to save Stephanie and finds a knife to cut her free. He's able to cut the seatbelt, but she's already unconscious. He pulls her out and performs CPR, successfully reviving her. They believe that she has died and been resuscitated, which would remove them from death's list. The last scene of the movie has Stephanie about to see Charlie off to prom. They're informed that Charlie didn't really bring his sister back from the dead because her heart never stopped. Meanwhile, Death's unlucky Penny, that tried to start it all, shows back up for revenge and rolls onto nearby railroad tracks, jamming them. Stephanie realizes that something is wrong, but it's too late. A train comes down the tracks and derails, heading straight for her and Charlie. They turn and run as fast as they can, and they almost make it. More train cars pile up, and one carrying logs gets pushed over the top. Logs get thrown forward that ultimately crush Stephanie and Charlie, putting an end to Iris's bloodline and giving us the final circles. Technically, Tony Todd's character was the last to die in Iris's premonition, but I like the way they handled his character's exit. Mr. Todd was suffering from terminal stomach cancer, and this was going to be his last film. He asked if he could speak from the heart for his final lines. I intend to enjoy the time I have left, and I suggest you do the same. Life is precious. Enjoy every single second. You never know when. Good luck. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. This is my first YouTube video and it took me an embarrassingly long time to make, so I genuinely appreciate everyone that watched. I really want to keep making videos, so hopefully I can learn to make them faster in the future. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more videos and help my channel grow,
Hey, 5-star review, yeah? Like and subscribe and all the things.